an amazing year for the Democratic Party, and give all of you a hand. You know, I work for a gentleman right now, Governor Howard Dean, former governor of Vermont, as the chair of the Democratic National Committee, who had a belief that if the party really wanted to win and we had to take our message to the people, we had to go back out and do the grassroots thing that the Democrats seem to have gotten away over the years. Well, obviously, the election that we just held in November confirmed his belief that Democrats took House, the Senate, gains in the legislatures, governor's offices, and right down to some local county seats that were not expected to win in places like Idaho and Montana. The governor devised a 50-state program, a partnership program. He involved all 50 states, not the red states, not the blue states, all of the states. That was his vision. And needless to say, it was not an easy task. Even to this day, he still does not credit for some of the things that happened in this last election, and some of the insiders in Washington chose to attack him, saying we could have won more. I don't know how much more we could have done, obviously. But just for an example, we all know about the House. We were worried back about 7 months ago whether we were going to be able to get a majority. Well, we ended up with double that. In the Senate, who would ever thought that Montana and Virginia would go down? It was a great day. I personally was in Pennsylvania for the last 4 weeks of the campaign, making sure that one of the evil members of the Republican Party, and I say this sincerely, evil member, Rick Santorum, was taken down, which we did a great job at. The Democrats picked up 6 governorships in places like Arkansas, Colorado, and of course, who could forget, Massachusetts. But, I mean, in Ohio, for example, where the Republican Party was just a mess, got themselves in so much mess, we've taken over just about every part of the state of Ohio at this point. So we've done a lot of work in the last year, but you know what? We have a lot of work left to do. A lot of the new members of Congress, I was, as I say, in Pennsylvania, and we picked up 4 seats in Pennsylvania. In my region, which takes up from Maryland, Pennsylvania, all the way up to Maine, and the Virgin Islands, which I don't get to go to much. For some reason or other, the governor doesn't authorize that trip too often. In my region alone, in the Northeast, we took 10 congressional seats. 4 in Pennsylvania, 2 in New York, 2 in Connecticut. So we've been moving right along. Massachusetts, we didn't have to worry about the congressional delegations. There are many Republicans left in the state, I don't think. Except maybe in Plymouth County, there's a few. State legislatures is another thing that nobody talks about. I don't know whether you read the papers about New Hampshire, what happened in New Hampshire. For the first time since 1872, we took over the State House of New Hampshire. I mean, that's amazing. 2 members of Congress, 2 Republican members of Congress in New Hampshire were defeated. One, there was a woman, you talk about activists, Kate talks about activists and John talks about activists. There was a woman who won the congressional seat up there, who started out as an activist, and nobody gave her a chance. In the primary, she spent $30,000 and beat a former mayor of Manchester. Did a great job. Again, party, state party, national party, said the woman does not have a chance. She's not going to beat the incumbent. She went on to defeat the incumbent in the 1st Congressional District and spent less than $100,000 doing it by knocking on doors and being active. It was interesting, Rahm Emanuel, who was chairman of the DLC in Washington, DCCC, called her up after the election. Of course, he didn't talk to her prior to that. Didn't give her any money, didn't give her any help. Called her up and asked her if there was something to congratulate her, number one, and say, can we help pay off your debt? And her response was, sir, I don't have a debt. Thank you very much. But that's a good example of activism. I mean, we talk about John and I have known each other for long years. When I was a selectman in Carver, and he was in Abington. We were also involved in some state rep races around the area, which I ran one time. Best thing that ever happened to me was I lost, sorry, but changed my whole life. But John did such a great job with Governor Patrick. I had the pleasure last weekend, Governor Dean and I traveled up from DC I traveled up on Sunday, here arrived on Monday, and we spent the entire day with Governor Patrick at 4 events on the Martin Luther King events. And Governor Dean, when it was all over, said, it was one of the best days he's had. I mean, you're very lucky. You've got a very, very smart and affable new governor of Massachusetts, and Governor Dean looks forward to working with him as much as possible, and with John and members of the state party as well. And one of Governor Dean's philosophy is, you know, we have to ask for a vote. If we show up and ask for people to vote and explain what we're about, then we're going to win more and more elections in the coming years. We all know that coming up in 08 is a big election. You know, we did a great job in 06. 07's kind of quiet. We've got three governor's races. We've got some legislative races, but not that many. But 08, of course, everybody knows. That's what we're leading up to. Everybody talks about the presidential 08, but the one thing we have to keep in mind, don't let the Republicans fool you. I mean, they were taken by surprise. And granted, we had some help. The man in the White House helped us. The stars lined up well. We had a lot of help. A lot of mistakes by the Republican Party